a winner.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wildly Uninteresting Podcast, episode 105. 105.
I don't see how you do it.
How do what?
Know what episode it is.
Oh, I didn't even think about it until just now, but I think it's because I clear the last one on the laptop every time before the next one. So that's how I remember it.
Okay.
But 105. We're almost 106 in Park.
That's
for
right.
sure.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the show. If you are new and you've never watched us before or never listened to us, we don't really stick to any storyline, I've noticed. We do cycle back sometimes, but we never stick to a storyline. And we rely on people that mention things to us during the week or comment. Not a lot of people comment. But if you feel like at the end of this that you want to comment, do so. So we could talk about your shit.
Or if even in the middle of it, you don't want to make it to the end.
Oh, yeah.
I stopped listening at this point because...
Yeah. Even if you just now stop listening. Well, no.
Just
if
now.
If you're planning to just now stop.
35 seconds in.
If you made it this far and quit, well, good on you. You tried.
Talk some shit in the comments. Let us know how you feel about us. You know, whatever. Anyways, moving forward, Derby just happened on Saturday. You were just talking about that, right?
364 more days until
Okay.
Derby.
I don't know who won, though.
Well, my wonder is because apparently in like Kentucky, I don't know how our vaccines went, but like the majority of people got like didn't get it, or they got the first dose and then they couldn't get them back in to get the second one because either they felt like the next one would make them sick, or that the first one was okay and they didn't need the second one, or whatever. There's, you know, I'm sure they have their reasons, right? Or they just didn't have the time.
Stupid reasons.
Yeah. So our mayor, right? Our governor. Andy Bashir, governor. My fault.
Don't know.
Governor went on TV talking about like how hype he was about Derby coming up, and was like, we got all these people vaccinated. In reality, like not as many as it should have been got vaccinated, and a lot of people travel from out of state to come to the Derby. I think they allowed for 48,000 people to attend. Like, it wouldn't want to go over that, which there's a lot more that can attend and have attended, right? Like, record was like 200 and something thousand. My question is, how many new cases do you think we'll have after this? Because a lot of people who attend Derby like that are more on the conservative side, more of your older generation. I don't know. Like when I go to the Derby, I see a lot of young cats go for sure. But you know, it's like one of those ritual things, not ritual, but we always go every year. And now that everything's opening back up, people are jacked to be out and about. I think we're going to have a shitload of new cases since we've opened everything up.
32% of the population in the state of Kentucky has been fully vaccinated.
Fully, yeah.
32.2.
Yeah. That's been like, they know for sure has been vaccinated. And then like the rest of them, like I said, either had one or they didn't get it at all. They don't believe in it. It's just, it's goofy. And you can't, you don't have the numbers on the out-of-state people. Like, you don't check them beforehand. So if you allow out-of-state people to come to the Kentucky Derby, which you do...
It definitely seems crazy to me that they allowed the Derby. And then they limit the number. Like, you think almost 50,000 people is good? I don't understand why they would... I don't know. That's a lot of people.
Well, I think they're finally starting to slowly get into the mindset that the general population is in. It's like 99% of people don't die. Okay, well, fuck it. Who cares?
Yeah, but there's all like the new shit where it's just terrible, and I mean it's never gonna go away.
The Indian shit.
Yeah.
Hey, so you like
Yeah, man.
what?
Yeah, bro.
About 55 to 60,000. So I was a little short, and I was being generous. So 55 to 60%, or 60,000 tickets were sold, are reserved at 50% capacity of those seats. The track could welcome anywhere between 20 and 30,000 fans. At 25 to 30, blah, 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 whatever. But in general, they
doubled
almost,
what they should have.
yeah, 60,000 people were able to attend.
Wow.
Which, I mean, the thing is, we were talking the other day, if we would have handled it correctly, if the United States as a whole would have handled it correctly, right? And we would be back open 100% like Australia or other
would
places
be
around the world. that
Normal
handled
again.
it. Yeah. Or at least like on our way there. Because you can't, like the variants, you can't, like whatever. And I don't want to spend too much time on it. I'm just like, it's just baffling how much we want to go back to business as usual. But it's just like a small window into how our society works. Ours is in like the United States, right? It's always about business as usual. So say some shit happens that completely fucks the system up, which it has. And even back influenza, and you sent me that, and so many people were just dead set on getting back to business as usual.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna be the death of us.
Yeah.
Same with like climate change. We're just gonna keep continuing to blast through walls of just disasters because we need to get back on track to business as usual. Like
It's so
80% of the
ridiculous.
people in the United States hate their job. Why the fuck do you want to get back to it?
That does seem silly.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't make any sense.
Of what a percent of that percentage do you think actually like hate the life that they built because of that job or something?
Oh.
Like they did the college thing.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's just a matter of the comfort level. Even if they hate it, they're like, well, I know this. This is what it,
Oh,
this
it's
is
comforting.
comfortable.
You
Yeah,
know,
this
I hate
is
it.
it's the devil you know.
Yeah.
Like, this uncertainty, I don't like it. But if we can get back to what I hated, I know
okay
that.
with that.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about that before. A lot of people will stay in that rut, in the shit, just so they don't have to feel the pain of change or whatever. Like that's just it's simple-minded bullshit, and that's what's going to be the downfall of us is business as usual, the status quo, like trying to keep up with where we were at, even though where we were at wasn't that good to begin with, right? So. I don't know. It just highlights our flaws and our weaknesses
Yeah.
that are going to come. Like, people are just like, oh, if we get past this virus and put it behind us, everything will be okay. And in reality, this is just a window into the massive amount of disasters that are about to come. And I hate to be that guy because I'm not a prepper. I'm not like an Armageddon person or Jesus is coming back again or whatever.
Yeah.
But I am saying that it's on paper, like scientifically
They've got
proven
a
it's coming.
point.
Like, you know what I mean? It's going to rain harder for longer. It's going to, more tornadoes, more tsunamis, higher sea levels. Like, you're not going to be able to live on the coast or have a beachfront property or whatever. Like, if you're buying property to be on a beachfront, you're an idiot right now. You'll never be able to the people that are like in Florida, beachfront, whatever, they can't even get out of their houses because they can't sell a house that the insurance is like through the roof. Like, to keep insurance on the home, like nobody, unless you're a millionaire, I guess, and you're like, oh, fuck it. But how many millionaires are there out there wanting to spend a shitload on a beachfront?
I don't know. I mean, I feel
Florida.
like if you're buying beachfront shit and you can't afford insurance and stuff and to replace things, then you're just a fucking idiot.
Well, okay, let's say this. Okay, I'll hop on board with, if I have enough money to do that and shit, right? This goes back to like crypto and like money and having a value and all that shit, right? So back to the same basis, if some shit happens where the sea level rises very quickly, let's just say very quickly in the fact that like
Do you
20
mean
feet up the coast.
Do you mean like 10 years quickly or like 2
No.
days quickly?
Like a year.
Okay.
Let's say a year, because that's pretty quick in
Okay.
climate.
Yeah.
And it moves up the coast like 25 to 50 foot, just up the, from where the sea level is right now up to like your house, 50 feet, right? It add a shitload of new issues to your home. Storms and weather will be worse, right? The entire coastline gets hit at one time. The entire state of Florida, for that matter, gets hit at the same time. Do you think the insurance policy people, well, insurance companies, my fault, that sounded stupid. Insurance companies in Florida will handle all those cases all at the same time. Like, the money you put in the insurance isn't there for you to get back out of it. Like, that's the game. It's the insurance game. So if everybody needs to pull out of their insurance policy all at the same time because this massive thing happened,
Right.
a lot of people are going to be left shit out of luck.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like how we handled
suppose, yeah.
Katrina. I'm sure we're still feeling the effects of that. Just everybody sweeps it under the rug. There's still homelessness from that. There's homes that were never built up. They're all boarded up and decrepit, and nobody thinks of it. As long as we can go back down to like New Orleans and drink our asses off
Right.
and show our titties, we're fine. We don't care about the smell either. Like, we'll just drink until we don't smell it, right?
Yeah.
Things like
Or
that.
just
It's
have
just
everybody frying shit.
yeah.
Yeah, it smells like fried stuff.
Fried stuff and crab, Cajun seasoning.
Did you say and crab?
Crab, yeah.
Crab.
Crab. That's what I figured. Like, they eat a lot of crab or crawfish. My fault.
Indeed,
Crawl
crawdad,
crabs.
man.
Crawl crabs. But no, I think what I'm getting at is I want to put in light, like, a disaster that affects more than just a city, a town, an entire state, an entire country, for that matter, right? There's only a limited amount of resources. We're figuring that out very quickly. But if all the coastlines all at one time get hit and they rise and all that shit, like, it's just going to move your population further into the center. There's not a lot of inhabitable space there. I mean, you have a lot of inhabitable space. Habitable, my fault. Habitable space. But
I don't know either.
there's a lot of desert.
Oh, I mean, I know the difference. I just don't know what he means.
There's a lot of desert on that, that end of the spectrum, as far as like California, Washington, all that stuff. If they came in, they'd hit that, like, all that desert area, they'd have to come in further. So mostly on the east coast of the United States. Like, that's where they would have to move.
Yeah, but that's going to be gone too. So.
Well, I meant not the coast, but like the Midwest and Mideast, I guess.
Yeah, I can't imagine being able to fit the entire country in the Midwest. I mean, I guess it's probably possible, but
Yeah, the Dakotas and Wyoming have an ass load of space. So it would work out.
Montana,
People
So-
wouldn't necessarily be happy, but they're really not happy anyway.
right?
No.
Yeah, there's unhappy in a
insurance-
different state.
The insurance companies, they just be like, okay, please, God, let them die with the destruction of their homes. I don't want to have to fix this stuff.
Well, luckily, the majority of people that own homes in Florida on the coast and shit are your older population. So I'm sure those insurance companies are making bank.
Yeah.
If they
Old
die, it's not
people
like
and like criminal 30-year-olds.
yeah. I watched a thing about
like
criminals and like like sex crimes. Like, I'll say not like sex offenders. So it's like a blanket statement. So sex offenders in Florida, they deny them housing everywhere. Now, we've talked about that before, where I'm like, you have to give everybody a second chance. If you're willing to let them out, you have to give them a full 100% second chance, third chance, fourth chance. How many ever times you let them out? You have to give them the opportunity to change, right?
Yeah.
But what they do is, like, they deny them housing everywhere, right? Well, these big, fucking real estate investors, my fault, I don't know how to talk. Real estate investors have bought up these trailer park homes, right? And they rent it out to like 3 or 4 of these guys or girls at a time. So a whole trailer park, like, each trailer holds like 3 or 4 different people that may or may not have a family.
Yeah.
And that's the only place that they're allowed to live, because it's the only place that accepts them. And the person, like, renting it out to them charges them like $500-$600 for rent, every one of them. So you're making like $3,000-$4,000 a month on a piece of property that,
On a trailer.
yeah, that isn't even worth that. Like, because a lot of these places will move in, they're falling apart, they'll put a little Band-Aid on everything, and then, whatever. But it's a fucking joke because you're not allowing them any other place to live. The only way they could live somewhere else is buy something, like buy a home. But how many people coming out of prison can buy a home?
I was thinking most of the, you said men or women or whatever, most of the people that are going to be in there are probably going to be dudes.
Yeah.
Because the women could just shack up with somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Definitely.
Without a doubt. Yeah, I think it'd be easier for them to find somebody to shack with, for sure.
Like, it kind of ties into a thought that I had the other day. I kind of talked about it a little bit last night when we played. But it's like, there's a worse stigma of being a sex offender than of being a murderer.
Yeah.
And I don't know
Yeah.
the actual statistics on it and how much trouble murderers have getting housing once they're out of prison. But, you know, it's better to murder somebody than to rape them.
Absolutely.
So, then,
If you got a good lawyer, you might only get like 7 to 14 years for a murder. If you can get
Yeah.
it for like negligent homicide.
and then you're not even
or-
on like a registered murderer list.
Yeah, like there's no list for these murders. Like,
Well,
So, like,
I
what a
think
fucking
too,
shame.
that people in society, I guess, it tends to be a little bit more accepting and open to the idea that a murderer can possibly change because you don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
the circumstances. So if
Yeah.
you killed someone, anything could have been going on, and doesn't have to be cold-blooded. But if you rape someone or
Right.
molest a child, like
Hey.
there's not an excuse for
No,
that.
and
at all.
the thing that always baffled me, and you know me, even in prison, where you have to be like dead set, like, you know, you farted in my face or whatever, and we're gonna fight. Like, there is no like questioning, right? It was always weird because they would, you know, let me see your paperwork. They'd give you your paperwork. You'd read like their charges, make sure they're good, right? Most of the time, the people that have those charges won't show you their paper,
I
or
don't
you can
have
tell.
any. They didn't give me any
They didn't give me any in
paperwork.
court or whatever. Everybody gets. But the thing that always like kind of rubbed me the wrong way is like I totally get like in that society in prison and stuff, like definitely like you have to be that hard on justice or whatever. But when it comes down to it, like there was this kid that come in to Floyd County, for instance, right? And they said that he had raped and drugged this 16-year-old girl. He was 19, I believe, 18 or 19 at the time. His parents are the one that called, right? The girl didn't call. The parents got involved, blah, blah, blah. This 19-year-old kid now is a sex offender, and they fucking handled him rough, right? Put shit in his food that I would never think about putting in someone. And what went into the story, which he got out within like 3 or 4 days because of it, but what went into the story was like they had been dating for 4 or 5 years, like they smoked weed together, and the parents found out they had sex, so the parents made a
Right.
call and stuff like that. The girl didn't even want to get involved, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, on paper, in black and white, this dude is a sex offender. So he gets the worst of the
reality,
worst.
He had sex with his girlfriend.
His girlfriend that they had been with for a very long time. Happens often, like a lot. And as far as like
Every
the rape
day.
thing too, there's a lot of people that raped somebody, and that's that hard line you got to draw, especially in court, because you don't want to blame a victim. But sometimes like it's that one where the parents found out or they felt that whatever, and then they say, "Oh, he raped me" or whatever, and then it turns into this case, and then later you find out that it was consensual in some way or whatever.
It
Not
definitely-
saying it happens all the time. I'm just saying.
It definitely seems silly to me that someone who's underage, they can't give consent, but you can make a case against someone even though the victim
Life-changing case.
hasn't said anything, won't say anything, doesn't, I mean, nothing,
Yeah.
just because the parents over here decided, well, I don't like this
Right.
person. So that's absurd.
That's it.
You should not be able to ruin someone's life. I figure if you don't have the victim saying, and now, I mean, people lie and stuff, of course, but it would definitely cut down on it
Yeah. I think, and that's what I'm
because
saying.
that's
Oh,
fucking
my fault.
ridiculous.
Well, I mean, you have the idea of like, I can't file a lawsuit against a company like because they've wronged you.
Right.
So why should I be able to press charges against
Yeah.
somebody that's wronged my kid, even if
Yeah.
they haven't really?
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's
absolutely.
my opinion that this child has been wronged. I'd like, that's dumb.
I don't
But
like
that's,
it.
but I guess what I was saying was like, it doesn't matter what, like, there is no story.
circumstances, yeah.
To most people, there is no story. It is one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And With murderer, like, you don't have that because it says murderer on the thing, but unless it's the people's family and they're also locked up with you, chances are, or like their best friend in life or something, chances are that dude's gonna have it made because he's a murderer and nobody wants to mess with the guy.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you gotta categorize that in a certain sense, right? Not everybody is just like, you know,
if you took a piss
molesting
outside
the
by
kid.
by an elementary
Yeah.
school or a park, like assuming there's not kids running around.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
You
dark.
can't-
and
You
you
fuck
had
that
to piss.
person up for like
That's ridiculous.
for life.
Yeah.
For life, you fuck them up for what?
Yeah, I mean, you can't put like explicit TV shows on in prime time on network.
Right.
Once
Right.
that time frame is over, you should be able to pee in parks.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
It's just it's sad that it
Should
goes that
be
way. I don't know why
in the
we
law
got on
that
that
way.
subject.
Yeah.
We were talking about the
Housing in Florida.
yeah.
I know that.
Florida.
But no, I just feel when it comes down to it, like most of those people can't buy a home out of prison and shit. So like if you're willing to give them a second chance, you gotta be willing to give them a second
The
chance.
whole
bro.
chance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
Talk about and think about if you did like your entire sentence. Do you know that if you do something like that and I charge you like 15 years, you're going away. Bye bye. Right? 15 years later, you get out. You've paid your due.
Yeah.
And the victims have like you fucking said your sorries, all that shit in court, blah blah blah, right? Fucking 15 years later, you know you still have to like register for life after that.
Well,
so
that's that gangster shit. Interest, motherfucker.
interest is a
Give me
motherfucker,
mine.
dude. The rest of your life, like.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, for something that they don't teach in school, I think for me especially, like getting out of high school and shit, I mean, we're 20, 21. I was a fucking maniac, dude. Like
Right.
10 times what I am like today. I'm like cooled off. I was a fucking maniac, right? But nobody has said to me, like, especially in like Kentucky, you can get locked up quite a few times before they actually give you the felony, right? They're like diversion this, or oh, we'll put him back on diversion.
The guy's just a good old boy.
yeah.
He'll come around.
Yeah.
And then eventually, when you've accrued so many charges, they're like, oh, well, here's 10 years. Like now it's not a
Yeah.
game. Well, it was like a game the
It's
last
time
12
to pay
times.
the piper, bitch.
Yeah. But I think in schools, they need to have a class. I mean, like after high school, the decisions you make have real world consequences. Like could ruin everything. So if you're like 20 and you have sex with a 16-year-old, that's like they need to fucking tell you that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
the kind
that's
of shit that parents should be teaching.
No,
Yeah.
you definitely should. Someone
Yeah.
should be discussing
'Cause, I mean,
it.
the school
make a
system,
TikTok
I
channel.
feel like I've said it before, but the school system's spread pretty thin as it is.
Yeah.
Teachers are paying for their own shit.
I can
And,
agree,
you know,
yeah.
it's like, oh, they're changing math. They teach us stuff we don't need to know. That
I'm on your side completely.
Parents need to fucking do stuff. And
Yeah.
I feel like the educational system, especially the public school system, should be just a foundation. And that's it.
Yeah.
No couch, no walls, just a fucking floor.
Yeah.
And then learn shit on your own.
Yeah.
Because we
could be,
have to stop relying on the state
Yeah. Oh,
for everything.
without a fucking doubt, dude.
And if
And
people are stupid, fuck them. Let them fail and die. I don't care. I'm done with them.
Done with it. I think you're completely right when it comes down to like stop relying. Because even people who quote unquote are like free thinkers and don't really like, they're like the first ones in line to be like, oh, you know, you wronged me, or I voted and I didn't, whatever. Like they're the first ones to get in line and complain about a system or be a part of it when you preach like being a free thinker or a liberal or whatever. Like,
Yeah. I'm a free thinking liberal.
Yeah.
Oh, the government. We need pay for
oh,
my
where's
health care in college.
stimulus
Yeah.
and my health care and my
Yeah.
this or that. And then like now we get into a bigger problem. But you're right. Like when it comes down to it, you need to say fuck the state and just, you know, either live or die.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, survive.
And
Right?
as much as I hate like the idea of greed running rampant in this country and how like other countries, they have their universal health care, you know, they have free college and shit. And that would be cool. I wouldn't hate it. But that's not what America's about. It's like if you wanna have a country and like be in a country that has that, fucking go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because a lot of places, like, you would have to follow their channels and stuff and get citizenship, but you could do it. Like, you don't have to like, stay here and be a part of this. Now, that's where I come with the argument of, like, there's nowhere to technically be free. Unless, I mean...
Mexico, in the wastelands.
Can you? Oh, in the wasteland?
Yeah, I think you just have to worry about getting your head chopped off.
Yeah, but if you get a sweet little neck brace, made of, like, steel. How are they going to do
You'll
it?
definitely get jacked for that neck brace.
It made me think of that thing from Wild West. The thing that they put on magnetic.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Tracks the blade. That's what I thought about. Like, that would work for sure.
Huh, that thing sounds
But
awesome.
like it detracts everything. Like it just pushes people away and shit. Keeps like a distance around you.
Protects your neck.
But
Yeah.
no. Okay. So say
Bring the motherfucking ruckus.
me
That's right.
and a gentleman that I think very highly of was having a gentleman's debate over
Were you guys wearing pants?
money. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Then it's not a true
Yeah, it's
gentleman.
not a true.
I see. So we were having this debate back and forth, and we have this debate not often, but it pops up in our conversation, right? Because you've recently gotten into crypto and then like investing in the stock market and stuff like that.
Money.
So I get to talking to the guy. Not so much like we don't argue. It's more of just a back and forth debate.
You debate.
Yeah. Did I say that like 5 times?
Yeah.
Shit, dude, my fault. Maybe I was trying to catch up with my thought, like get my story straight before I said it. My bad to everybody. That was terrible. I was like, am I saying this a lot? Anyways,
110%.
so we get to talking about how money doesn't have any value anymore. It's not backed by anything. And that he told me that I should invest in either gold or silver. I think mostly he says silver just because it's easier to obtain and stuff like that. I think that's why he says that.
Right.
He said because it never lost its value.
Because gold's ugly.
Gold's beautiful.
Gold's ugly.
But he said that even through like the Great Depression, things like that, it never lost its value.
Right.
He said either that or crypto, but he feels now that crypto is probably going to receive a crash as well, just because everybody's into it and stuff like that. There's a debate on either side, I'm sure. But, this is what I said to him, because I started looking things up because I wanted to see if, like, you could make gold or silver artificially. And you can. It costs a whole lot of money, but you can, right? It can happen. It could be scaled up eventually, right? Just like diamonds. You remember how, like, there was this, like, big uproar and, like, they could make diamonds in a factory, and they were like, oh, they're not the same, they're not as good, they're not blah, blah, blah. In reality, they were the same exact thing, right? But before they found out they could do that, it had a lot of value and they could sell them. Why? Because they were rare for one and they look pretty. 2 main things. Gold is the same exact reason. It's pretty and it's rare. There's only a finite amount on Earth, unless we start mining like meteors and shit. So I think I'm taking the long path around this, but my argument to gold and silver always having its value is the fact that even in the Great Depression and stuff, it was still it was valuable because they couldn't make it artificially, and the secret wasn't out about the fact that it's only pretty and it's rare. Those are the only 2 things that make it something that we want so much, right?
Right.
But if something is so valuable, because when the Great Depression happened, it actually went up in value, right? Because there was less of it and more people with it. Like a smaller amount of people with more of it, I think is what I was trying to say. But if there's no money to buy, because that's what I asked him, is like, what would you exchange the gold or silver for? You would have to exchange it for a currency. For like a currency to
'cause
use,
you can't
right?
like walk into a store and pay with a silver coin. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
You could, but
And
it would be a process.
Yeah.
you couldn't do that, right? You couldn't just like, shave off a few bullions and then, pay with it and stuff like that. It just wouldn't happen. You may be able to keep it, but if there's nobody to buy it from you are for you to exchange it for something, because let's face it, if something happens that's just world changing, or fucking like the walls start falling down on the United States, it doesn't matter how much gold and silver you have if there's nobody to trade it with for anything, or like no money to exchange with it, whatever. Like, yes, you have a lot of it, right, but what is it worth if nobody wants to buy it or obtain it from you? I'm sure there would be a subset of people that also want it from you. It would
be like now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think
a few people who want the shit because they think it's worth something.
I tried to give like a short story to the back and forth that we had, right? So my main argument on all of it is, if everything crashes, money, and then that would in turn, like I say crypto, just because you have to buy crypto with money, right? And there's no value if nobody has anything to put into it. Right. If everything crashes and the world is just in disarray, it won't matter what you have. Like, it won't matter the gold or silver you've obtained with money. It won't matter how much money you have, because it's just paper and it never had value anyways. And crypto, I don't think anybody knows what crypto is.
Well,
it's just a way to...
If everything crashes, crypto doesn't exist anymore. It's no longer
Neither does money, though. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The only stuff that matters are the things that you need. So skills,
water,
and fucking cows and shit.
I think if we had proper world leadership and everything crashed, then we could just rally around maintaining the facade of money being worth something.
Oh, yeah.
That would never happen.
Because it would be like, okay, look, guys, we can either agree to this and things can continue at 70% of normal, but we can disregard it. Let's throw away all money and have fun in the West.
Right.
So
I think that's my main concern with it all, right? So it's no matter if I have like stashed $100 bills somewhere, stash a bunch of crypto on my phone, and have a lot of silver and gold, right? I think my argument is, and my thought process is, if it all starts to burn, right, and climate change happens in the realest way, and shit is just crumbling, right? The whole infrastructure. Let's face it, COVID almost brought it down. So if something bigger than that happens, we're fucked. And then nothing has value. Not even the gold or silver. Yes, it held value then, but that was I don't know how to explain it. Like,
well, whenever that happens, I hope you just have a bunker full of menthols.
I could do it.
Otherwise, you're doomed.
Yeah. Or either that or you're fucked. No, that or a bunch of weed.
Or weed.
Menthols and weed.
Yeah.
But I think just for me and that guy's sake, I wanted to make, like, explain my point in our little short conversation. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, my whole thing is, if it all goes, it all goes, right? And the stock market is worth nothing. Well, the crypto market is worth nothing.
Right.
I feel like the idea of, like, I don't know what you can do with silver. I don't know. But, gold, you can actually make shit with it.
Right.
So that seems reasonable. Like minerals, like technology and shit like that. It's like, okay, you can get something out of this. But I don't know. Money.
Eventually,
Canadian money should be worth more because it's pretty.
I looked into, like, they have made gold artificially in silver, right? And I wanted to know what the process was. And they were like, okay, well, in fusion, nuclear fusion is how you can create gold, right? Within that reaction, you can create gold. Atomic bombs, right? Create every element on the periodic table in that one blast, all at the same time.
And some that we don't have tabled yet.
Yeah, I was just say some that are unstable and they can't, like, grab a hold of. But it happens, right? So they found a way within fusion to create gold. Silver, they can make in a particle accelerator. Like, they can make silver particles, like one particle.
It's like, it's not really worth the price,
right?
But it's possible.
And eventually, I feel like just with diamonds, like, there was quite a few people that tried to create artificial diamonds, and they finally did it, right? It's possible that the hardest stone known to man can be made in a factory. Same with gold and silver. It's gonna happen. Eventually, somebody's gonna figure it out, right? But they were like, oh, the price it would take to create it is not worth what you could get out of it in gold and silver. And I thought, what a funny idea, right? Because when it comes down to it, it's only expensive now because they have like a machine and a company and materials, stuff like that, and all of it costs money, right? Yeah. But if everything's fucking crashing, our backs up against the wall, and we need gold or we need silver, it's not going to cost that much to run that particle accelerator when nothing has value anymore, right? It only has value because I need to make a paycheck. The company needs to make a paycheck. We have to run this. There's a whole school based off of it and all this other shit. It has to be funding, But if nothing's worth anything, I can run that particle accelerator for nothing. Like if we're all working together, right?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Still, electricity costs a lot for that.
Would it? I mean, but if everybody has to work together and we're like, it's either this or we all die, electricity's going to be free. They're going to be like, here you go. You can have it all. Like, but I guess that's like a far extreme to what could possibly go on. You know what I mean? And I'm sure gold and silver would hold value as long as like the world wasn't burning, right? I guess you would have that. So that argument is probably valid, but you'd have to hang on to it and weather the storm until you could sell it again.
Yeah.
Or use it.
Yeah, because essentially you would need either a new system or a vendor to take it to get
money.
Yeah, whatever that money may be.
Yeah, I was just say, and then you run the risk of like getting money in exchange, and then none of these companies accept money because it's worthless now because we don't operate on the money system.
Right.
The money system.
Money.
No, I don't know. I think there's a lot
now.
I think there's a lot of thought experiments that can go into that, but I guess, yeah, what you just said, I could trade it for a sheep or a cow or something. So that's okay.
I wonder how many sheep a little thing of gold would get.
I don't know.
In this fake scenario.
Yeah,
7.
I'd totally like to have like
Love
unmarked pure gold coins, like just and see if I could buy something with it.
Absolutely not.
Was this gum?
Yes.
I want your fucking gum.
I told him that if you walk in a place and show like a teenager who's just like working at Kroger your passport to try and buy some cigarettes, they don't know what the fuck to do with it.
Yeah.
If you take gold in there, they're just gonna look at you like you're stupid. They're gonna have no fucking
I've tried
clue.
I've used $2 bills before.
Yep.
And people look at me, they're like, "This is fake. What do you?" I was like, "You dumb motherfucker."
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I swear. Nope. People are too fucking stupid. The $2 bill, the passport, and the gold coin, or silver for that matter, will never. God, these kids. Oh, God love them.
No, that's
and I'm sure some adults.
God strike them
a
down.
lot of them.
Yeah, please.
It's I think there's just a lot of thought experiments. And I think a lot of things don't need to go past a thought of experiment. Like we just need to know how to like change the world when it happens. Like, but or like whatever. Plan for shit.
It kind of feels like that. It's like the same thing as saying, well, whenever the Titanic is on track to hit an iceberg, we could just steer clear of it.
Hit reverse.
But I mean, with so many people and with such a large scale economy, if shit's fucked, it's fucked.
Yeah.
And the people that have like the 1%, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
But
that's what's sad about it. In the Great Depression, the 1% felt none of it. Like, do you know that? Like, most of them still spent money on like luxury and had their vehicles and gas and stuff. You're 1%. It's hard to imagine this, but you're technical, like the 1% for real. They don't feel a fucking thing when shit happens, bro.
Last week, did we talk about like cars being sold more during COVID? Or did I hear this somewhere?
I heard the same thing, but it wasn't from you.
It
Go
all
for
runs
it.
Together.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like the idea of the depression, the richies are spending a bunch of money, and now the richies are spending money, but they have more money than they know what to do with.
Yeah.
But as much as it's like, I want to crap on them for, that helps the economy. So
right.
That's where it comes in, because
it's good to be.
I feel like they're the foundation.
Yeah.
As much as I'm bitter It's like, you don't need that much goddamn money.
Right.
But at the same time, they earned it. It's fine.
And that plays.
It's helpful when things go terrible.
Yeah, that plays into perspective. We talk about that a lot. Like, even though I have these views on certain things, my perspective on things is just like, it's all good. Like, the people I come in contact with are straight. Like, I don't have any issues. Like, I'm not like in a constant protest with people and arguments and shit. Like, the world's pretty much okay. And then, I have my thoughts and words about the 1% and what, but when it comes down to it, like, isn't that why we're in this country anyway?
Well,
like,
and if you could be the 1%, wouldn't you be?
Yeah, most people fucking would.
Yeah.
And most people complain because they're
don't
not
have
there.
it.
Or they don't have
They
the
hate us
drive to
because
be
they
there.
ain't us,
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I would assume, growing up, hating on people with money or like they're all assholes, they're all like a lot of people are raised to think that. So that's why we have that initial thought, like the working man always hates the boss, like, because whatever. But if you could be the
He's
boss,
a slave
wouldn't you?
driving prick.
Yeah, you'd be the same, and you'd be worried about your bottom line and stuff like that. There's no harm, no foul. You signed up for it.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, you could live in a tent on the side of the road.
Yeah, because they don't really seem to be shutting them down. Hey, you want to live in a tent? That's fine.
Yeah, go for it.
It's
I know it. We went to that the Tent City little town underneath the bypass downtown off River Road. I mean, a lot of them have it hard, but if you didn't have a drug problem and shit like it, you could make it pretty decently.
Yeah.
They had shade. People, gave them water. You can get water at stores and shit, and they'll give the homeless water for free and shit. Like, you could fucking live pretty good.
Well, and if you didn't have a drug or alcohol problem, you wouldn't have no money. You would have money.
Right.
Like, if you're asking people for money, you're probably saving it. So unless
You
you
don't
get
have to
robbed,
pay bills.
right,
Yeah.
or buy drugs or alcohol excessively, like, you'd have money. So you could buy all your own shit. You could buy all the drinks and food that you wanted.
Ooh, you could. I guarantee you could live in a tent, pay for personal, like, let's say healthcare and a phone, because the homeless have to stay on the up and up. You got to stay connected, And you have a
just think
phone
about
and
how much
insurance.
easier life is with a phone.
Yeah, and you you ride a bike, right? You don't have to pay a car payment and shit. In reality, like, that would be a pretty decent life. I mean, if you didn't have a drug or alcohol problem or mental health or anything like that, you could make do. Like, you wouldn't look that rough. Like, some of the homeless people only look that rough because they've been they don't take care of their health, they don't brush their teeth, they don't worry about none of that shit. They just want to get fucked
about
up.
a shower.
Yeah.
Right.
But imagine, like, being you, just living in a tent all the time under a shaded viaduct with a bunch of other people that, if you don't have it, they'll help you out get it.
Yeah.
I'd want to
you
get
to
away
get
from the rest of them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to surround myself with homeless people.
No, you wouldn't want to fucking like hang out with them.
You
No.
would be
Party on the
fucking
weekend.
pretentious.
Yeah, dude. Really? No. You guys aren't on my level. I'm upper class homeless.
Upper
You're the
class
1%
You're
of the homeless.
Yeah, dude. You fucking made it. The 1% of the homeless. Hey, that's a good way to put it, man.
Hell
That'd be
yeah.
a good way to be.
Yeah, my tent's big enough for 3 people, and no, you can't stay in it with me.
That'd be pretty decent. I want to live in a tent now.
Oh, shit.
Uh,
Shit.
But so I watched this video, right? Real quick question, right?
Yes.
Do you think that
No.
you know how on like Reddit, on all these social media, like there's a protest in every country about every different topic you can think of, right? Every time I open my phone, it's another protest. And I think May 1st protest was in Colombia over tax rates being raised or some shit. And I mean, like, they're on their shit. Like, they're busting up banks and shit, like just running them up.
Busting
Man.
up banks.
Making differences, see?
Do you think that there's like that much hate and uprising everywhere? Or do you think we're different in some way? Like, this time period's just different and like everybody's done with it. We're having like everybody's in an uproar. Or do you think we've had these protests forever, but the internet has allowed us to view other parts of the world and like we can see everybody's protests, we can see everything going on?
I'm not entirely sure. Like, there's a part of me that thinks that it's because like times are tense, and everybody's fed up with shit. But
Yeah.
But then again, it's also kind of like with like we see people. It's like, oh, here's what happened on Twitter today.
Yeah.
So we just have eyes everywhere. So it seems like it's everywhere and it's happening at an increased rate. But
Yeah.
maybe it's not.
You get a lot of people that get I feel like that's where a lot of these Karens come from the suburbs and shit. They're all like spoon fed all this hate and protest and anger and all that shit, and then they wind up yelling at some African American gentleman in a parking lot for opening their door wrong because they feel like they're being assaulted or some shit. I don't know like what they get mad at, but the most ridiculous
Everything.
shit. Everything.
Right.
But like you see more of it and you feel like it's so prevalent and we're just like, oh, the world is crashing. But maybe the media does that on purpose. Like now that we have a further reach and we can see all this shit going on, they feed it to us like that. So we're in a constant state of fear. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be at my front door before it's too late. What do I do? And then you go out and buy guns or more security systems or higher insurance policies, whatever. But
I think if you subscribe to the idea that the media pushes a certain narrative, that it would make sense why there's more stuff about protests going on right now. I think that there's always a lot of protests across the whole world. I think that they're just like want it to be in the forefront of everyone's mind. Yeah, because it's happening here. It's a big thing. So when you hear protest, no matter what it's about, you're thinking about racial injustice and systemic racism, like all this stuff.
So then with that idea, do you think then that the media is saying that they want people to focus on this stuff so that they'll take part in it?
I don't know
a little
if
bit, maybe.
Yeah, I could see that.
So if they're guiding the narrative, why would they guide it towards that if they don't want people to act on it?
I could see it, which I haven't put a lot of thought into this. So this is just my off the top of my head answer. I think either that or there's other shit that's happening that they don't want you to focus on and don't want you to be aware of. So let's just keep your attention here. I feel like it's a bigger thing of just keeping us divided, honestly. And it just so happens to be with protests and racism right now.
Well, that's like CNN. Back when communism fell in Russia.
Communism.
Was it Russia? Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
The USSR.
And we were in a state of no conflict, right? After that, up until 9/11, let's say, right? No conflict. We were kind of just like chilling out, right? But the military industrial whatever thing, the machine that runs the military machine,
Right.
Requires a lot of money, right? They get a lot of money for going to war. People get paid off war. That's what we live for, right? So after 9/11, they changed that we weren't fighting communism anymore. We're not fighting whatever anymore. Now they called it like to blanket it so that they could invade other countries on a whim. After 9/11, they changed the narrative to terrorism, right? We're fighting the war on terrorism, and that's it. So all they have to say in any country, Baghdad or Iraq or whatever, is like, we suspect terrorism.
Yeah.
And we're going to go fight it, right? And we've moved away from the military as a whatever. They privatized military. So you can get out of the military and go back into a private company. They called them like B&Ms or some shit. I don't know. Black something. I'll fucking look up the thing and I'll put it in the fucking thing. But anyways, they privatize militaries and they send them in to fight terrorism in other countries that didn't even have anything to do with that.
Mercenaries.
Yeah, kind of, in a way, yeah. And it just, CNN pushed that narrative, right? And then got the American people riled up about terrorism, and then backlash the people for being all for like Iraq, Iran, Baghdad, and just murdering people for no reason. Right. And they like try to backtrack and make Trump the bad guy or whatever. In reality, you push the narrative. I think that's what I'm trying to get at. I know this sounds so stupid, But I'll link a video that I was watching so that you can get both the facts that I'm talking about.
We could piece this together over the next 3 episodes.
Yeah, my fucking fault for not having all the information down. But it's private military is going in to fight terrorism where there was no conflict to be fought, right?
Yeah.
Same way with what we're doing with China right now. And I think I want to take back some of my statements as far as China goes because it's
They
the
got to you,
media.
didn't they?
Well, I think the media pushes
knew
these
it.
talking about like communism in China or China's taking over and all this stuff. And in reality, China doesn't want a conflict with us at all. Like they're doing their thing and we're doing our, like they don't want a conflict. But in order for them to invade and interrupt their system that they don't agree with or whatever to push capitalism or whatever, they have to have a reason. And what better reason than getting the American people all riled up about something, whether it be terrorism or communism or socialism or whatever, and feed this military machine that requires an ass load of money. Taxpayers won't want you to use the money if there's not a reason behind it. If you don't make me scared that China's going to come in and, you know, make my dog electronic and whatever. I don't know what the Chinese are planning to do or what they say the Chinese are planning to do. But I want to tell you, I don't fear China taking over. I think I said it before where I'm like, maybe they'll do better than fucking Trump or Biden or whatever.
Right.
Maybe we'll have free healthcare or something. But I think, you know, we have to feed that system, that military system. And they're allowing these privatized military groups to go into these countries on the whim of terrorism. And you have CNN now making Trump the bad guy. In reality, they pushed the narrative when Bush was in office. When 9/11 happened, they pushed that narrative so hard, and now you want to backtrack. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's with social media and shit, that shit just gets out there, and they get to a far larger amount of people. Like, I didn't watch the news when I was a kid, but you're damn sure, whatever. Kids
you
are
damn
sure.
kids.
There you go. Kids are damn sure on TikTok and Reddit and all this stuff. Young kids seeing all this protest and war and Black Lives Matter, and they demonize all of those groups. I mean, you're creating fear where fear didn't need to be created. Right. You're creating hate where hate didn't need to be created. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like there's not enough of it.
Yeah. I think that when it comes to like the China debate or whatever, and they want to pull the troops out of Iraq and shit, and the sad part about it is there's a lot of money in the military. There's a lot of money to be made, and they can fund a lot of black book operations through the military, those groups. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just want to know,
I don't know either, man.
You know, do you think they push a narrative on the internet or social media just like they did, you know, like just like CNN did or MSNBC, any of those places did?
Absolutely. It's like the idea of the like the music industry, where they push stuff that's like the lowest common denominator. Mm-hmm. They're just doing that with fear. It's like, oh, everybody reacts to fear, and if we get them scared, they're too lazy to actually look anything up.
Yeah.
And if they look it up, oh, well, we own the media at which they learn things. So,
yeah.
So
what do you think the purpose would be? Would it be just to, like, basically make us scared? Is it to make us divided? Is it something I didn't say?
I don't know. There's a part of me that wants to think it's all just a big psychological experiment.
Hell yeah,
to see what we can make people do.
I can definitely see that being the case.
Because, I mean, realistically, if people were smart, none of this would work.
Right.
And the fact that people are so stupid and it's working, keep going with it, because then you can manipulate people. If you can manipulate people, you can get pretty much unlimited amounts of money and resources.
That's what it is. Yeah. I mean, that's where, like, the taxes they had, like, you're not just going to agree for them to use your taxes just on anything, but if they get you scared and fearful, you're be like, take my money. I don't want China to come in, make my dog electronic. There you go. That's what probably I was saying.
I feel like even within that,
electronic
that's
dog.
just like the pussy ass, like liberal types. Because like the conservatives, they're like, fuck them, man. We got guns. Let them come.
Yeah.
So, you know, the people that want bigger government are going to be more easily controlled by fear, it seems.
Yeah. the letters I was trying to think of is not B. It's PMCs, so private military contractors, right? PMCs, and the recent one that they pardoned, or that Trump pardoned, and this is where CNN demonized Trump. My fault. I know this is coming around. It just took me a minute. Blackwater was the contractor, and they did an operation in Baghdad. And these guys go in and they just murder people. The FBI did an investigation, CIA did an investigation, and it came out that even the victims that came forward were like nothing went on. The sniper opened fire first, and then they just started unloading, and I think they killed like 17 people, I think it was. Something like it. Just cold-blooded murder. They didn't, under the guise that they were fighting terrorism, right? Yeah. Well, then they get, the sniper gets sentenced to life, and then the other 3 get sentenced to 30 years, 15 to 30 years, right?
Right.
Trump, before he left office, pardoned all 4 of them, right? And it was already, their sentence was already hinted. They were already in prison. He pardons them, lets them out, right? What does that say to the victims and stuff? Well, CNN made Trump the demon in that sense, right?
Demon.
When it comes down to it, CNN was pushing the agenda, and CNN kind of gave rise to, you know what I mean? Like if I trick all the American people into terrorism, and then we back something that is completely wrong, and these private military groups to go in and just fucking unload on innocent people, like who's at fault? Like I feel like the media's at fault. I feel like the government's at fault. But no, they try to pin it. So they made Trump really look bad as far as making the decision to pardon him. In reality, like who's more bad in this situation?
I feel like
he's a scapegoat.
It's a stupidly complex situation.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like the idea that, everybody wants a steak, but nobody wants to see the cow die.
Right.
Like everybody wants to kill the enemy, but nobody wants to watch anybody die.
Yeah, nobody wants to pull the trigger.
And then it's like, with the distrust of government and activities and stuff, you don't really know if there are actually terrorists in that area. Because, it could just be, hey, we're out here just killing innocent people for the hell of it. That seems unlikely. So I would assume that there's the possibility that there are actual terrorists just living among the normal people. Because, they're going to use women and children as defense. Like, they're just going to hide behind them. Say, oh, you want to get to me? You want to end terrorism? Kill these kids and women.
Right.
And then, oh, now you're the bad guy. You killed women and children.
Yeah.
So there's no real way of knowing. It would be nice if we could actually trust our government.
Yeah,
Right.
or the media for that. Like, I wish we could trust them. You know
That's
what I mean?
what makes it so fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Because we already have a distrust of our government, but then the media. It's like we're supposed to be able to. How are we going to stay informed if you can't trust any of them?
Right.
So whenever you're not informed, then that just kind of makes it seem more like the whole psychological experiment side of things.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you, dude. Yeah.
It's just chaos. But we know what's going on, so it's not chaos. It's just a complex formula.
Yeah.
They don't know, but we know.
Right. Seems like chaos to you, and we know for a fact it's not.
Yeah, it's like they took the idea of people talking about being woke, and then they're like, oh, okay, you think you're woke? Here's your chaos. You don't know shit.
Fucking thing. That's, I think, when me and my buddy, get in those conversations and shit, like, I'm always like, I don't really pay attention to the news. Like, I try to, like, there's a guy I watch on YouTube that they demonetize and stuff, so I assume that he at least a little bit says shit that they don't like or agree with.
Right.
He's not totally, on one side or the other and gives it unbiasedly, but, like, he'll tell me, we'll listen to this person or that person or more on the conservative side of things or whatever. Right. And I would like to feel okay about going and watching those, which I do. Most of the videos he sends me, I watch unless I'm busy. Right. But when you put out that you can't trust the media, and then you put out that, Facebook controls narratives, Instagram controls narratives, it's all for the purpose of like keeping you distracted and shit. YouTube controls the narrative.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, like if I can't trust a group of media outlets, then I can't trust none of them. Like, because they're the highest form of journalism, right? Like they should be held to a higher standard and give the story how it is.
They should, but then that just, the idea of they're keeping people distracted, that I feel like that's horse shit. People are allowing themselves to be distracted because they'd rather just sit and mindlessly scroll through social media, TikTok, YouTube, whatever. Nobody wants to take the time to do their goddamn homework. Because, I mean, if you take, like, oh, Fox News is stupid. They're just right-wing trash. CNN's stupid. They're just left-wing trash. Listen to both of them. Put it together in the middle. You'll come up with something that's not necessarily true.
Yeah.
But it's truer than if you take one side. Right. And people just want to blame
it's good
outside of themselves. I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of want to blame some shit, and there's blame to be placed, but it's just the idea of, like, you have to take responsibility for what you take in.
Yeah, for what you consume.
Yeah, and, like, actually put thought into where it's coming from and look in more avenues than just the one.
Yeah.
Which is kind of
I like what you said, though, about watching one that is whatever, and then go on the complete opposite of whatever that is, watch that, and then put it together. But then also anything that they reference within those stories, look it up for yourself.
Yeah, look that shit up.
Yeah.
Man, God. Okay, so Casper sent me this a TikTok of this dude that is like he was talking about like investing and stuff, and he was like, "Oh, I watched the what stocks this guy is buying. You know, he's like a billionaire or whatever, and he bought this stock, and then it went up like 8 times its value. But I looked into it.
Yeah.
For the last 2 years, it's done nothing but go down.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of like, just look something up.
Yeah.
And
it reminds me of the for instance, they'll put up a guy laying in back when like vape was becoming this bad thing, and they were like, oh, vape is like 10 times worse or whatever. But when it came down to it, the true story, because you watch both sides, the true story was black market THC vape pens, right? They were making these on the black market, and they had all these chemicals in them. But they showed this kid in like a hospital bed. He had a trach and all this shit. I mean, he was on his deathbed. And then you go look up where that picture originated from. And this kid was in a car accident. Like, it had nothing to do with vape. But they just attached this thumbnail. And the people in the comments, like, they just looked at the thumbnail, they didn't even specify in the thing. They were just like vaping. That was it, right? And the comments were just so illiterate. They were just hate on it. And then it took me 2 seconds to look up those 3 things, like where the picture originated, the real story, and like what they were basing their facts on. You know what I mean? Like, are you basing it on like one case? Like, you know,
scare tactic.
Yeah. And what it came down to was like 6 cases, which I agree. Don't buy black market THC vape pens because you don't know what's in them. Well, like, unless you have a mass spectrometer, maybe. But you get, I'm totally
like
with you though. Like that, how long did that take you to go look up?
Not long at all.
Not long. Yeah, because all the information's right there at your fingertips. Yeah. Is what it comes down to.
Also, people, you know, they need to learn what sources they can and can't trust.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
But also, don't trust anybody, but don't entirely disregard what they're saying.
Right. Oh, yeah. Like the people even that you disagree with and you distrust. Yeah. Still hear what they have to say.
I hate the idea of like writing somebody off completely and never listening to anything that they have to say. Yeah. That's just ignorant.
Yeah, definitely.
Wait, that's they pointed out in one of those videos, which I'll plug. I'll put a link to that channel I really like. I think you'll get a kick out of it. But like Tucker Carlson, and a lot of people on the conservative side listen to him, and they were like, this is the only person I feel like I can trust in the media. When it comes down to it, he comes from a 1% family, big business. Like, he may spin the story to make it seem like he's on the opposite side or the opposite fight. In reality, it's almost like reverse psychology that a lot of these people do. You think Fox News would employ somebody that went against the agenda, even though it sounds like he is? Like, it might just be that I don't know. They're trying to trick the conservatives or right. Is that right wing conservative?
Yeah.
Right wing, yeah, right wing guys.
Maybe they're trying to bring legitimacy to their organization.
Right. Well, I doubt that.
Like, hey, if we get a little balance going on.
But maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, if the main argument is that you're too right-leaning, throw in somebody that's a little more to the left than everybody else.
I mean, I would hop on, like, not hop on, but I would listen to more of, like, the Q stuff and all this other, like, those, I don't know what to call it, but like we'll just say QAnon,
conspiracy theorists.
yeah, or what is it, extreme right wing or extreme conservative?
Yeah, you could call them extremists.
Stuff like that, right? I would listen to more of that and be open to hear what they have to say, I guess, if a lot of their things were based in fact. So it's like when a Christian comes up to you and says that you're gonna die and burn in hell if you don't repent for your sins, blah blah blah, and then I ask, how do you know that? And they're like, well, the Bible says it. Okay, well, where the Bible, and then give me facts and sources, blah, blah, blah. When it comes down to it, there's no proof of any of it, right? The right-wing stuff, the extremists kind of do the same exact thing, right? They're like, well, they have all these child sex rings and Trump shut down all that. And then when you go look for it, there's no evidence. Well, how do you know that? And they're like, well, just look at it. And it was like, well, the information tells me different. Like in his whole presidency, I forgot, we looked it up, but the whole presidency, it was far off of what Q was saying or whatever, or QAnon, that group of people were saying. And I was like, well, what about, and they're just like, well, they covered up the information. They're not going to give you. So every time you get to a point where they're like, whatever conspiracy they're on, like you go to look for actual facts and you don't find any, their response is, well, they're covering it up.
Well, see, I was thinking like that sounds a lot like UFOs and like aliens and stuff.
Yeah.
But in this case, they're actual physical people that you can try to crucify.
Yeah.
Instead of just, oh, well, okay, there's an alien, but we don't see it. Who are we gonna hang up?
That's I think that's what that makes me the most like, get the fuck out of here. Because if it's like, I can't win that argument. Nobody can win that argument. Like, just the same with Christians. Like, I can't win the argument. I don't want to win. I'm just saying there is no argument to be won here if you can't show physical proof of anything, right? And you're basing it all off, like, you have an answer for everything that we can't find or you can't prove. And that they're covering it up. But in reality, that's not proof that's not proof.
Well,
like, of any of it.
It's not proof at all, but I mean, if you want to give the elites credit for the horrific things that they've allegedly done, then you got to think they're going to cover shit up.
Yeah, of course.
But I feel like if anything is based in fact, even if it's covered up, you will be able to find the facts. You will be able to find. It might take you 20 fucking years.
Where's Kennedy's brain?
I have not ever. I didn't see it in his body or outside of his body, so I don't
Right.
know.
When's that truth coming up?
Never. I don't think it ever will. Not while we're alive, anyway.
You never know, though. Possibly when you're like 80 on your deathbed, somebody come whisper it in your ear.
Dude, I hope.
I killed him. But you're 120.
Yes.
I don't like disagree. That's what I love about, I don't know what you've taught me to listen to everybody and stuff like that. Like, I don't fucking discredit in those people. I don't hate them for having their view on shit. Like, I like hearing their side of it and, thinking of stuff outside of the way I think. But when it comes down to it, I want proof. It's the same reason why I hated going to church every Sunday, because you're telling me all these things with there's no basis in none of it. Like, you have no physical anything, like anything.
It is the exact same argument of, well, because the book
Bible
says
says
so, or because
his ways are bigger than yours.
All the information you need is right here, and there's no fact in it.
There's no fact.
It's in there.
It's like a video that like cuts and pastes.
They said it.
Yeah, but they cut and paste like these pictures and stuff and make it like spin this web really nicely.
Put some spooky music to
it.
Yes.
Yeah, and the way they like convey it, like I can see where you would believe it like straight up. But even if I was so in depth in it, like I would want to know, like, okay, well, where's the proof to some of this stuff? And when you go to look, most of the stuff comes up empty-handed, right? We know that there's child sex rings. We know that. But Ashton Kutcher shutting those down, not Trump.
Right.
I was
I
playing.
haven't found anything of any validity that I've looked into that supports the extremists' thoughts. And
Like 100%.
in fact,
Yeah.
no, not even none. The sex ring thing, I guess there's a little bit in there where
There's definitely
Trump took down
some
some
weird
people, but
shit.
they compared two different sets of data to make it look like he was doing more than what he was and make other people look worse than they were. So it's unfair and you're lying and you don't need to. You could just present the fucking facts and we'll accept it. Like, if you take down one sex ring, fucking good job, dude. I don't need 3,000.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I
still
know.
one, 4 less than I've started. But,
Exactly.
You took one down.
There's a lot on that argument that was like trumped up, if you will. Like, but I think too, I was in a conversation with another electrician in a supply house. What was it, Thursday, right? And unfortunately, most people in the trade are conservative and not open-minded. That's the unfortunate part. Not that they're conservative, that's fine, but that they're not open-minded, right?
Well, I feel like an inherent part of being conservative is generally not being very open-minded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Unfortunately.
we don't want change. We're comfortable with how it is.
Yeah.
Jesus
You know
told
how
us
this
it's
shit-
bad.
But and I think what I got from the conversation, and the bad thing was he was like my second year teacher in the trades, but he was saying some shit about Biden and all the shit that he's fucked up and all these orders he's putting out, right? Which, let's face it, when it comes to like the president of the United States, a lot of times they deal with the trash that the previous person has done or the victories that the previous person has done, and sometimes people get the credit one way or another for doing some shit they didn't do, right? But he was like making Biden seem like he was like, you need to go watch The Rise of Hitler. It was like something on Netflix. Really look at the whatever, the history behind how Hitler came into power. And I'm like, are you saying that Biden's kind of like Hitler? Or like you comparing the two? Because like I don't see it that way. I don't think.
I think we should just allow it. So, Biden is like Hitler. But, so is Trump. So,
Yeah,
the
people
left
viewed it
and the
that way.
right are just electing all of these Hitlers into office.
We just keep
So as America,
The
we're
story of
just
three
Nazis.
Hitlers.
Yeah. That'd be a
That
cool
was-
movie.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
That was his argument, and I think, and he was like, "Oh, this and this trash, and all the material prices has gone up since he got in presidency, which he's only been president for like 102 or 3 days." And he was saying all this shit, and I'm like,
the first thing
"How
he did was
can you-"
raise the price of wood.
I was like, he wasn't president when like COVID came like into prominence and shit, and all this is like a product of us failing to deal with COVID properly or improperly, whatever. Like this is just product of the system that is in place. This doesn't have anything to do with Biden. Like he's like, oh, all these prices rising stuff. I'm like, nobody's the fucking that boat that got that they couldn't unload, the employees that have been out of work. This all this plays in the reason why these prices are going up. Same with like oil and gas prices going up, and it's because they don't have anybody to drive the fucking trucks to get the gas to you. And like trade, you know what I mean? Like international trade has took a huge hit, but no, it's Biden, and he's kind of like Hitler.
Anyone who seriously makes that comparison is fucking ignorant. They have, I don't care who it is, they're fucking stupid.
Hell yeah.
Because that is the
Shouldn't you all-
most absurd thing I've heard today for sure.
Shouldn't you always like keep in mind, like, let's say, don't say Biden or Trump or anything, right? Shouldn't you always be looking over your shoulder at the next Hitler? Like, not, don't base
Aren't
it
we
like,
always looking for him?
to
I
make
know.
sure he doesn't pull the tricks that he did last time. Like,
Right.
just because, people are so fucking just insane. But you on all sides of the spectrum, they're insane. Like, so
You know, I'm all for listening to opposing sides. It's very important. I would never. When we're off the air, you have to tell me who this is because I don't want to ever hear a fucking word come out of their mouth. Not one.
yeah. I'll definitely tell you who it is.
Yes, thank you, because it's fucking upsetting me.
No, he didn't. But it just caught me off guard because, you know, working with people and shit like that, I just kind of let a lot of stuff roll off my shoulder. I don't get involved in the conversation.
Kinda have to.
But I was getting that out of his conversation. I'm just like, holy fuck, dude, you are saying that Biden is pretty much Hitler right now. And
hasn't killed a single
hasn't
person,
killed
but
nobody
just
and
like
shit.
Hitler.
But I just hate, like, you got to give the guy a chance, right? He was elected. He is your president, right? You have to give him a chance, right? I think everybody was fearful when Obama came into presidency, when Trump came into presidency.
When everyone comes into presidency.
I know, every fucking president
Every
we've
time
had.
we've ever had one, you've had people like this, and it's like you have to
change.
give them an opportunity, right? And I think the war on Trump happened so quickly just because he felt us quickly. Like it has nothing to do with them covering things up, and he's like, you know, trying to expose the cabal or whatever. Like I think it's just he was fucking shit up, and they were like, we need to at least shake things up and get a new guy. So you got to give Biden a chance. And let's say that he's too old and he has dementia and all this shit. If he dies, you get Kamala Harris, which isn't a bad thing. Like, I think she's got her head on fucking straight.
Well,
hopefully she fucking does better than Trump did.
I would say so.
I feel like
Let's not bank on Biden dying, though.
you're giving credit and
I mean, I have
taking
nothing
away
against
credit
her,
from somebody who hasn't even had the opportunity to do anything yet. And you're blaming gas prices. He hasn't taken your guns, but you feel like he's like gonna fucking rape you of your guns and all this other shit. Like, think Civil War is right around the corner. Give the guy a fucking chance. He's your president, so you got to deal with it for 3 years
Well,
at least.
people like that, they don't want to. They're closed-minded, and they want. I believe this, therefore it is fact, and I don't care what anybody else says or what reality says.
Reality, yeah, dude.
So
reality.
This is just how they could. He could do nothing but positive, wonderful things for him personally and his family, and he would still hate him.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. And fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy.
I'm so mad.
I know, dude. Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you gotta not watch what you, but like, I mean, you can't compare the two, man. Like, are we in concentration camps getting gas, bro? Like, shut the fuck up until he starts like saying that, you know, white supremacy, like openly, and saying that we should kill off all the Jews and any other race but white.
Have
like,
you seen all the people that he's brought in with him?
yeah,
Very
I
few
know.
of them have been white men.
No,
so
I know.
he's definitely. Oh God, we
I know,
gotta
it tears me up.
end this
He's
because I need
definitely
to know
pandering.
who it is.
No, it just tears me up. I just wish that, you know, you wouldn't correlate the two. That's idiotic to correlate the two. He didn't raise the prices himself. It was a product of something that was already going on,
Like he
COVID.
went into each gas station himself and like changed the numbers on the fucking
He's
sign.
the bad guy. Like, they haven't.
There's that guy out there with those numbers again.
That's it. That's just like anything. Like me just viewing you as bad for everything, good or bad, right? So anything you do, I'm just like, oh, well, that's cool that he gave $1 million to charity, but he's, you know, he's
He
gonna
gave it
fucking
to the wrong one.
yeah, whatever it is, man. These people are just crazy to me. I'm just like, just open your mind a little bit.
See,
Give
the
them a chance.
mentality that these people have is like whenever I was in high school, yelling about Bush.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, he wasn't the best president, but yeah, I might have used a little exaggeration in my claims
Yeah.
of him.
Definitely.
You know, maybe grow out of it.
Every president we've had after they've gotten out, you realize what amount of like shit they handed us. Like Bush was a terrible president. Obama did a lot of fucked up shit. Like
But again,
Trump did a lot of fucked up shit. They all
Yeah.
I'm not justifying anything, but I feel like it comes with the territory
Yeah, it's
of
like
being
maybe-
the president and running a country.
Yeah, maybe quit
Yeah.
doing fucked up shit, but over 4 years, all the stuff that comes across your desk, fucked up shit's gonna happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
You
just
gotta
like
roll with it.
sign something positive and counteract it. Please.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Because I mean, if you help one person, you're inevitably gonna hurt another.
for sure.
So
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
no, I think the takeaway from this, for real, like the end of takeaway is the
Sum
comment
it up,
you
buddy.
made, dude. about listening to what you don't want to, like what you feel is distrustful, whatever. Go listen to that. Listen to what you normally do, what you base it on. Put the two together, get all the facts, and then go look at yourself. That's what needs to happen for everybody, not just one way or another, right, left, liberal, in between, backwards. I don't know. But look at both sides, be open enough to view both sides, and then get all the facts together and go look it up yourself. Because you can only trust yourself, right? So take that.
Oh, God, I don't know. Even that makes me nervous.
Yeah.
Because if you're saying you can only trust yourself, that's just saying, hey, all you fucking idiots out there that I wouldn't trust with anything, trust your judgment. You can only trust yourself. You know,
Only trust yourself.
Yeah.
Bad.
Maybe don't trust anybody. Kill yourself and leave your stuff
like
to me
that.
and your will.
I dig it.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, that was episode 105 of the Wildly Uninteresting podcast.
Dark hype.
If you've made it this far, we greatly appreciate it. Leave a comment, like, dislike, share, don't share, But let us know in the comments what we can do better for you or what you expect out of a podcast.
Ooh, and stop
we'll try to
leaning
help.
on the idea of Occam's razor. Not everything is simple.
Right?
It's,
It's like one idiot learned what it was, and they're
Yeah.
like, well, this applies to everything forever. I'm going to say it
Forever.
always.
it's like whenever new words pop up in the media. And then, imagine I've heard it every day for 3 months now.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Just because,
My
you learned a
least
new
favorite
word.
thing.
Hey, you know a new idea.
It was really irritating.
Anyway, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, no, but
Yeah.
thank you for listening. For those who have made it this far, I'm Adam, that's Ian, that's Sarah,
Hi.
and we thank you so much for listening.
I stay mad.
Scat, scat, skiddity, scat, scat, bop, bop.
In a
Whoop, whoop,
ghetto.
whoop, whoa, oddly uninteresting podcast.
Morrissey!